This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
Should MPs' pensions be cut, and is the Board of Internal Economy the body to be doing?
I think the pension situation has to be reviewed. I'm quite happy to see it reviewed. I'm happy for the board to have a discussion. Effectively, though, one has to realize that the Conservatives have a majority on the board. But look, Mr. Harper, if he has some particular proposals that he wants to put forward, he can put them forward. Obviously, having an outside body review it as well would be great. But I'm quite happy to see a review of the pensions go ahead.
Mr. Ray, you said on the weekend that you supported a tanker ban on the north coast of BC. Then you clarified perhaps that... No, I didn't. I'll tell you. What I've said is what I've always said, and that is there is, as of today, there is a Privy Council order, there's a cabinet order that restricts the traffic of where tankers can go and how they can go. Tankers come in and out of the Burrard Inlet, they come in and out of Vancouver Harbour. There are other places where they can go. There's an LNG proposal that's going forward. But what I've also said is that in the absence of any scientific evidence to the contrary, there's no reason to change that current policy of the federal government. Let's realize who it affects. First of all, I have no idea what the Prime Minister is talking about, whether it's 2015 or 2020 or 2030. I don't know what he's proposing. All I know is he went to Davos and made a major speech saying that no, they weren't going to touch the Canada Pension Plan, but they were going to touch the old age security, which is the first time the Prime Minister has ever said any such thing. So why wouldn't we talk about that? It's a politics of abandonment because he's abandoning future generations of seniors. He's abandoning provinces with respect to their increased obligations. And let's not forget the fact that the majority of people who are on OAS plus guaranteed income supplement are making less than $25,000 a year. This is not a program. I mean, this is a government that had no hesitation in income splitting for middle-aged seniors, for middle-class seniors, for upper-income seniors. Had no problem doing that. This is a direct statement saying that the future of this country is going to involve a wider discrimination between wealthy and not so wealthy, a bigger gap between rich and poor. Most of the other leaders who were in Davos were talking about why there's a crisis in our economic system is because there's this growing gap. Our guy is the one guy who went there and said, oh, well, we're going to make sure that gap gets even bigger as we go forward. That's the position of Mr. Harper. Does he have a
mandate
to be doing this?
No. How could anybody suggest he has a mandate to do this when go back and look. I was in debates with people in my riding, conservative candidates. I was on television with conservative candidates talking about these issues. There was a seniors debate on television. You can go back and see it. The clear commitment from every conservative candidate and from the Prime Minister himself was that there would not be cuts to transfers to individual seniors. There would not be those kinds of cuts. They were not going to touch those transfers.
You're talking pensions. Is this their big watershed moment that you think might be the time?
I'm not just talking pensions. I'm talking about truth-telling. I'm talking about deception, and I'm talking about abandonment. And there will be lots more examples of that, but I can only tell you this is the clearest example that I can think of. This government campaigns promising to maintain a structure in place for senior citizens, and then it goes to Davos and announces that they were only kidding in the last election. They've suddenly discovered that, hey, our population is aging. Well, our population was aging during the last election. We were all getting older in 2010 and 2011, just as surely as we're getting older in 2012. He didn't just figure this out today or last week. He didn't just write this on the back of an envelope. This is something that's been in the works. They've been talking about and planning for months and months and months. They must have known about it during the last election. They told the Canadian people the exact opposite of what they're doing today.
What do you think in his response to you today? He seemed to be suggesting that commitment only applied to whether or not they would reduce the deficit to zero.
Well, I'm only sorry that we don't have more than 3 questions to cross-examine the Prime Minister, because what he's doing is, in my view, entirely dishonest. It is dishonest to go in front of the Canadian people and tell them that you have no intention of cutting transfers, and then go in front of the business community. But it doesn't matter. You can say it in Davos. Say it. I'm not going to get hooked going to get sidelined by where he said it. It doesn't matter where he said it. The fact is that whether he said it from an alpine perch or whether he said it in the House of Commons or whether he said it on the hustings, he's changing his tune. And, you know, he doesn't, you asked me the question, does he have a mandate to do it? Absolutely